Welcome back, everybody, to the Big Fellas podcast. Mike Pridgeon, Noah Tanner. By now, you probably got a better idea of what we're all about here. I've lost 110 pounds, and hey, what do you know? So has Mike, also somehow losing exactly 110 pounds. I'm still trying to figure out if he's like a different clone from a different dimension of me. We're still trying to kind of hash that out. Signs are pointing to yes, but we're figuring it out. Today, we've got a really, really fun discussion. We're going to talk all about eating out and how we approached it, the mistakes we've made when we were trying to lose weight, and the mistakes that we learned from when we successfully lost the weight, and now what we do when we go out to eat, whether that's fast food, whether that is a sit-down restaurant, and how that has evolved. So let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Let's do it.
So, first thing I wanted to ask you was, do you have any fun stories or lessons learned from being bigger before you lost all the weight with eating out, fast food, anything like that?
I can give you one from 3 months ago. I have not been a big fella in a long time other than in title here on our show. But when I was with my parents in Florida, shout out to my parents, we were at a restaurant and I got my typical burger because everywhere I go, I get a burger. And I just had this sort of split-second decision right at the very end as I was putting my order in. When they asked me if I wanted fries, I said no. Nice. But you're going to get cancer if you drink that Diet Dr. Pepper. Hold on a second. Oh, no. In the next episode, you'll see Noah on chemo.
I'm going to look like the guy who wants the chocolate from the SpongeBob episode that's like 99 years old.
I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Invented chocolate. Yeah, exactly.
I always hated it.
You can have chocolate, by the way. You're allowed to have it.
If I had, I don't think I have any here. Otherwise, I'd eat some out of spite.
Usually I have an Oreo.
Yes, yeah.
Anyhow, so I'm at the restaurant with my parents, and the person asks if I want fries with it, and I just said, you know what? No, I don't. And if I want them, I'll just tell them to bring out the fries. But I realized in that moment, I don't really want fries. Like, they're good. I like them. But the burger's always enough for me. When I finish the burger, the fries are just there, and I finish them because they're in front of me, not because I really want them. And every burger I've had since in any restaurant, which I have not had a whole bunch of them, I just don't get the fries, and I'm totally satisfied without them.
Yeah, I am a French fry fiend. I'm a big fan, but my desire for French fries is less than my desire for actually being full from my meal. Now, this strategy kind of came about. I have a really good fast food strategy that I'm going to talk about later that I give to myself and to all of my clients. It came about because my dad is a handyman. He was a pipe fitter. He was a window installman. He's been a carpenter. My family's been he did a lot of just odd jobs, doing side gigs all the time. And when I was old enough, he would start taking me on to help him during the summertime when I was, too little to get my own job, but I was bored on a Tuesday in the middle of July. So I would sometimes go help him out on the jobs. And when he and I would work together, we would most of the time head up to McDonald's, and we were just like, let's get the most cost-effective thing. So we would get 4 chicken sandwiches, McChickens, and 4 McDoubles, and we would each have 2 of each. So I would have 2 McDoubles and 2 McChickens, and he would have the same. Now, is it 4 sandwiches a lot of food? But were we both over 250 pounds working for like 10 hours outside? Yeah. We didn't really give a fuck. And it was like $8 back then because that's when the dollar menu actually fucking existed.
It was still cost effective. I was going to mention that at the very. It's no longer. I'm glad that I quit my McDonald's habit before they got bold and forgot their roots.
Better for the pockets now to not do it, just purely from a financial standpoint. But anyway, when my dad and I would do that, I would always see that was way more effective. And it also translated into my other fast food orders as well when I got older. I would always just kind of go bang for my buck. From there, I kind of established when I started losing weight that going, maybe not 4, but what is the most typical, like off the top of your head, what's the most basic McDonald's order you can think of?
For me, it was 2 McDoubles without pickles, a large fry, and a large Sprite twice a day, plus 6 sausage burritos in the morning.
Ooh. Okay, that was good. But I'm more so just thinking like generalized. It's usually like,
you get like
burger
a Big Mac
of some kind, fries, and a Coke.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty universally, like that's the meal, whatever. Burger, fries, and a Coke, whether it's a quarter pounder, Big Mac, whatever. Instead of doing burger, fries, and a drink, do burger, smaller burger, and a low-calorie drink. That is the strategy that I teach my clients.
Quite honestly,
Because
that sounds better to me.
it does. And I'll talk about the psychology of it as well. When myself, I'm obsessed with being full from my meals because I can't stand being hungry after I'm done eating. Now, that's a whole nother relationship we can talk about later, but I want to feel like I'm eating a lot of food and also eat a lot of food. My appetite did not change after the weight loss. I'm still have the appetite of a blue whale. I am very hungry. I'm a very hungry boy. And so when I'm allowing myself to have, whatever my main burger is, but then I also get a smaller burger on the side. So let's say I get like, I don't know, I don't really order them, but let's just say like a quarter pounder. But then instead of getting quarter pounder fries and a drink, I'll get quarter pounder and then like a cheeseburger, a small normal cheeseburger, and then get a 0-calorie drink like a diet soda or a iced tea or something. But by doing that, I feel like I'm eating more food because I'm having 2 sandwiches instead of 1. I'm skipping the fries and adding more protein because that burger, the McDouble or the single burger, has more protein and actually less calories than the French fries. A small, medium, and large fry all have more calories than a normal burger from McDonald's. And no one
Large
ever
fries,
believes me when I say
560
that.
calories, and I think the McDoubles are around 250.
Yeah, and that's a McDouble. If you get a single, it's like 180 or 190.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also without cheese, of course. But still, like a normal burger is less than fries almost 9 times out of 10. So if I'm getting more full from more protein, I'm feeling like I'm eating more food because I'm having 2 sandwiches and I'm getting less calories out of the deal. It's a win-win-win. And that's
That
kind
all
of a
being
big
said,
hack that I rug people through.
before people hate us for hating fries, because neither of us do, my famous yellow cup that I'm always drinking out of, this is from a place called Curly's by the boardwalk in New Jersey. They have the best fries in the whole world, and that's all they serve. It's just fries. And I make a pilgrimage down there several times a year, specifically to get a bucket of those fries and to get all the other stuff that I love on the boardwalk. But the difference here is when I go to Curly's, it's because I want the fries. It's very specific. The fries are not a consequence of another thing that I'm having. The fries are the main event. So make sure that whatever you're having is the thing that you really do want to have, the thing that's going to make you feel good, or the thing that's going to make you feel full, whatever that might be. That's really important.
Fun fact, last time Mike went to that boardwalk is when I duetted one of his videos. And now we're in this mess.
That's the reason that you and I know each other.
Either way, that's how Mike and I met. So that's funny that there's a little piece of lore. Is creatine bad for a 16-year-old? I wouldn't probably take creatine as a 16-year-old, but if you've been going to the gym for a really long time and you feel like it's the next step, maybe talk to your parents about it first. But I have a struggle giving any sort of advice.
Talk to your
like that
parents,
anybody
talk to your
under
doctor. Don't
18.
worry about it.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
that extra like 5% boost that you're going to get, you're not going to notice. Don't worry about it right now. You are developing as a person.
Other habits need to be established first.
You're also surging with human growth hormone right now. Like you don't need it. I'm 30. That's over for me. I need it. You don't.
You're basically blasting trend by being 16. It's insane. We can talk about that too. But let's get back into the eating out portion of this little segment here. First of all, I got to know, what's your favorite fast food place?
My favorite fast food place. Well, I'm sort of unfortunately beholden to McDonald's.
It's valid.
But, when I'm out in the in the Midwest sort of deal, I like Zaxby's. When I'm out that way, I don't know if you've ever had Zaxby's.
I have had it one time. Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to say Whataburger is a favorite, but it certainly saved my life when I was in Texas a few years ago.
I've never had Whataburger or In-N-Out.
It's not great.
Or Shake Shack. All the local joints. We don't have them. Like, I've never had any of those.
I would like to make a call out really quick. I believe fully and truly, and I'm willing to fight anyone on this, I can make a better burger than Five Guys. And I'm not afraid to show it to someone.
I like that.
When I come out to visit you, I'll make you a burger.
Yeah, that's part of the surprise. Mike and I are scheming some possible times for him to fly up here to Michigan. And then obviously I would have to return the favor and take a trip out east to Jersey. And we could do some cooking challenges.
And we crush a bucket of fries.
Oh, I want to go to the boardwalk so bad. So
we can go back to that boardwalk. We can both go out there shirtless.
Recreate the video, yeah. No, that would be fucking sick. But Favorites for me, it's tough. Chick-fil-A is just always so high quality. I'm a big fan of their sandwiches, but I think if I like bang for buck, and honestly, one of the more underrated, I made a video about this. I can't remember if I posted or not yet. Taco Bell is not that bad calorically. It's way less calories than most people realize for some of their more bare bone tacos. And also, there's just something satisfying about ordering like 6 different tacos, eating like 1,500 calories, and just feasting.
Now, the fat percentage is kind of high, but obviously, if
Yes.
you're not going to be having it every day to the point where the saturated
Oh,
fat
yeah.
bomb is going to bother you, it's not a problem. So if
No.
you're going to look at the menu, because someone's inevitably going to say, but it's a lot of fat. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry
And the
about it.
reason people demonize fat 99% of the time is just because fat has more calories than protein or carbs. But if
We've
you're,
also got that mental connection between dietary fat equaling body fat. And
which
if
is
you were
not
to
the
eat
same
it in
thing.
excess, if you eat anything in excess, that's what happens. It just happens to be that dietary fat is very dense and high in calories. It doesn't mean that it's any worse. It's the way that it is.
You can eat too much of anything and it'll kill you. If I drink too much of this cancer juice, it'll kill me. Okay, I can't say that without context. I drink diet soda very frequently. It's just a running bit that if we eat anything that is not like purely from Mother Nature, we have to make fun of each other for it. Drinking diet soda is 1,000,000% okay on fat loss journeys. I have like 2 cases of diet soda in my fridge right now. This is not going to give you cancer. Gigantic disclaimer for those of you that aren't familiar.
I was talking to David Roden about this, and he said something really funny. And it was that the water toxicity from drinking as many cans of Diet Coke as you would need to get the cancer causing amount in mice of aspartame
Yeah.
would kill you before the aspartame would even start to hurt you. You would wipe
Yeah.
out all of your electrolytes. You wouldn't be able to absorb them anymore, like just from the amount of water inside of it. So
Yeah.
it's that harmless. Also, the phone that you're watching us on right now, congratulations. That's in the same cancer causing category as aspartame right now. So if you put away the Diet Coke because you don't want to get cancer, where'd you read that article?
I like
on the
that.
phone.
I like that.
Everything's giving you cancer. That's it. We live in a society.
Somebody asked if, hang on, I'm going to butcher it. Even if Diet Coke has less calories, wouldn't it be better if you just drank water on a diet? I mean, objectively, you're going to be better off just drinking plain old water. I mean, nobody's really arguing that. At the end of the day, both of them are 0 calories. Water can get boring sometimes. It's always good to have plain old water. I drink plenty of plain old water as well. But when I'm working and I want something sweet just to kind of hold me over and keep my appetite a little bit suppressed, I'll have a diet soda. That's just kind of what operates well for me. Sometimes it's like a low calorie juice. Sometimes I use Mio. Sometimes I'll use these Clear Americans from, hey, by the way, talk about cost effective. The Clear American flavored waters carbonated. This is literally just peach soda for 0 calories. It's absolutely fucking insane. Very, very cost effective too.
I am currently in this cup right here. I've got a grape electrolyte from Aldi, and I think it was like $2 for the whole box of 10 of them. So I go through phases where I'm just drinking water, and then I go through phases where I'm like, I need a little bit of zazz in my life. I go back and forth on it. Yeah, I'm not going to commit to one thing or the other. If I want some taste, I'm going to have it. And if I don't, I'm just drinking water and I'm fine. It's not a problem.
Now, with all that being said, I would love to touch base more on, we talked a lot about fast food. We talked about fast food strategies. We talked about our favorites, our go-to strats, our go-to orders. I do want to talk more about sit-down restaurants. What do we do when there's occasion? Oh, Kurt's in here, by the way.
Hey,
Kurt
sharp shirt Kurt, what's going on, fella?
Yes, sir. Sit down restaurants, whether it's date night, whether it's a family dinner. It was my grandma's dinner the other night on Monday. So we all went out to a Mexican place. I got a burrito the size of my head. It was phenomenal. It had chicken, steak, and shrimp all in the same burrito. It was fucking insane. But let's talk about strategies and how that relationship has evolved as we've lost weight and what changes we make to keep things easy. Because I have a big philosophy on this, but I would love to hear what you have to say.
This is actually the next thing I was going to bring up, so I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. I want to start before we even get to the restaurant. I want to talk about how we get there, because this can be something that we have to change as well. We'll talk about it from the perspective of relationships. There are some people that will say you get into a relationship and you just kind of let go and you don't care anymore. I don't believe that's particularly true. I mean, it might be in some situations. I think what's more commonly true is now you have a co-conspirator. You have someone that when you have a craving, they can kind of validate it and they can say, oh yeah, I'll go with you. And now you don't feel so bad going alone. Or they suggest it and you're not necessarily hungry, but you're like, yeah, I'll figure something out. And then you go at 3 a.m. to go and get, a snack run. Yeah. So that's one thing there. The other thing, just in terms of peer pressure, is what do we tend to do when we want to catch up with a friend that we haven't seen in a while? What's the first thing we default to? Let's go and get lunch, or let's go out and get coffee or drinks. It's always something around food. So just being at that restaurant in general, is it something where you showed up to the restaurant because you wanted to get food or because you wanted to talk to someone? Because those two things could be accomplished separately.
Ceiling cat strikes again.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
window
always.
cat. Yeah. He knows, man.
Get out of here, Bit. So that's my input there, is we show up at restaurants sometimes when we're not hungry, just as we're in the kitchen sometimes when we're not hungry. But we look at being in the kitchen when we're not hungry as not being good, but we look at a restaurant as, well, it's a special occasion. What's really the difference if we're eating when we're not hungry? What's the point?
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to how we prepare, as you touched on it really nicely when you said, like, it's just kind of the default. When you got a friend in town, when family's in town, when there's something to celebrate, there's always going to be food involved. So when people try to say, oh, I'm trying not to eat out as much, or I'm trying not to do this, I'm trying not to do that, you're saying you don't want to just eat out ever? What are you saying? We have to find a way to fit it in, because there's no way you're just not going to go out to eat. You're lying to yourself. So I'm a big proponent of, let's prepare the day as efficiently as we possibly can to where we can maximize our enjoyment while we're there, right? So when you're speaking purely from a calorie perspective, if you're tracking your calories and you have a maintenance of, let's just say 20, let's say your daily goal, right? 2,500, nice, easy round number, right? Let's say you're trying to shoot for 2,500 calories a day, and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick a restaurant.
Let's go to Applebee's.
I'm going to Applebee's, America's heartbeat. The backbone of America, Applebee's.
Half off appetizers.
Half off apps at Applebee's. We're going there. We got a friend in town. Going there to see an old friend who's in town. You're going to have fun. They might have a couple drinks. You're not sure what to do about it. You don't want to feel guilty about eating out, but also you want to make sure that you don't feel over restricted to where where you feel like you're missing out. We don't want to miss out. We want to elevate the night. We don't want to add stress to a situation that doesn't need stress. And there's a way to do that. And really, it's just about two primary things beforehand and then one thing while you're there. It's kind of just a 3-step gizmo. You got one, front load the fuck out of your protein early in the day. So when I'm going out to eat, I know I'm probably not going to have like the highest protein options available. I mean, if I get a steak, that's a little different, but I know I want to get a lot of my protein in early so I don't have to play catch up while I'm at dinner. So I don't force myself into limiting myself to try to get my protein levels in while also at dinner. Just make it easier on yourself, front load your protein. Number 2, give yourself a rough budget to be there. Now, I'll tell you right now, most places, if you give yourself about 1,000 calories, maybe 1,200, maybe 1,500, if you're really not going to trust yourself, you're going to be able to nail it down. You're going to be able to fit it in. And Bit clearly agrees with me.
He's getting her neat movement in, by the way.
Oh, Bit's a girl. I'm sorry. And so if you are able to front load your protein and give yourself a rough budget of 1,000 calories, you still have 1,500 calories for breakfast and lunch to hit your protein, enjoy the day, and you have 1,000 calories to play with. If you just take 2 minutes to look at the menu, you'll find something that looks tasty, that's filling, that's satisfying, and that's under 1,000 calories or at 1,000 calories. And if you want to add a little alcohol in there, again, if there's anything I would recommend cutting out entirely, it is alcohol, but I understand it's a part of lifestyle. I'm not a huge drinker, but I get other people that do it socially, safely. That's fine, whatever, as long as you're doing it safely. Give yourself a little bit more of a budget. Give yourself 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. Give yourself a set budget to stick to. Know that number. Pick something on the menu. Then there doesn't need to be any stress about it. Then you're walking out of that joint with a phenomenal dinner, with a phenomenal friend, staying in your deficit. It can be as easy as that.
Speaking of joint, much better option than alcohol. Anyway,
you said I'm not going to disagree.
Nothing.
I'm not going to disagree.
I said the joint is Applebee's.
Yeah.
Cops. It's legal where I am. Applebee's is legal where I am.
It's legal. Applebee's is also legal in Michigan, so we're good.
It's very legal. So I really like that. Preparing for the meal, knowing that it's going to happen, you're going to be full. Part of that's going to be sort of reconciling with your hunger signals for the rest of that day. You don't want to undereat and feel like, well, I want to make sure there's enough room. No, fill up, make sure you're getting your protein in so that you're not hungry, because you will be eating a little bit less before you get to the restaurant. And when we get to the restaurant, you may not even want as much. You might not use that entire 1,000 or 1,200 because you've eaten things to fill you up already. So you don't even have to go into it with the intention of using it all, but to have that buffer is really good.
Absolutely. And there's a couple smaller things that you can do while you're there to kind of help. And this is kind of more your wheelhouse, Mike. It's just like different strategies to make the meal go a little further and to not develop this, because Mike and I both come from a background of like binge eating. Mike and I both have a very colored history with binge eating, and something that has helped me when I'm able to do it. It kind of avoids that binge mentality where your eyes roll in the back of your head. This is my fork. I'm eating. I set it down while I chew. That one is crazy helpful that people seem to forget about. And it's such a tiny little thing. But if you can eat, and then while you're chewing, set your fork down, enjoy the conversation, grab a drink, you drink your water, whatever. It'll make that meal last an extra 20 fucking minutes. I swear to God.
I suck my food down so quickly if I'm not very on top of it. That's something I have to be super conscious of, or my food disappears quickly. And I always get kind of, oh my God, you eat fast. That doesn't come from anywhere. I wasn't from like a food insecure background or anything. I just simply enjoy the feeling of eating really fast because for whatever reason, it feels super good to eat really fast. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. So
have you ever, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but it also feels good to not be super full. Feels way better
Absolutely.
to not be super full.
Have you ever been told that you eat like you're in prison?
Yeah.
I have too.
It happens all the time. Yeah, to all of my family who's listening to this right now, I know. Trust me, and I've been being told since I was a kid. I know.
They'll say it's not going anywhere. You can slow down.
I can't explain it because people don't know. Normies have no idea.
No, they don't.
That eating the way that we do, we don't get big like this because we're trying to.
No.
You're not in a body that doesn't serve you because you chose it. I don't care what anybody tells you. Like the habits that have gotten you here are not, you're like, I'm going to get fat. No, right. It's not the case. But there are some habits that we've developed that don't serve us. And one of the major ones that I'll use kind of to highlight this point is when I get home, I put my keys on the coffee table. I should probably put them on a hook.
Yeah.
But I know where to look for them when I go to the coffee table. They're probably going to be there. And sometimes they're not. And then I'm like, well, I don't know where to look now. I have no idea because that's kind of been the default. And they could be anywhere where they should be on a key hook. I should have a place for them to be. I didn't develop that habit in malice. I did not develop that habit because I wanted to be irresponsible. It just was like an easy thing to do, and it sometimes gets a little bit inconvenient for me. That's something that I could do better that wasn't my fault. It's not something I chose to do, but it's there, and I got to clean it up.
And it's the worst when you live with your girlfriend and she tries to tell you to move your keys somewhere else, and then you literally lose your keys because you can't remember. Like, it's not in the default spot that you chose when you first moved into the place. And if it's not there, they don't exist. They're gone. Like, I don't have object permanence. Like, if they're not where I put them, they're gone.
I don't have object permanence around the food going in my mouth. So I take a bite and I go, I don't know where that bite just went, so I better take another one because I'm hungry. I take another one, and I got to 265 pounds. That's how that happens. Object permanence.
A very irresponsible thing that we can do is a eating competition. So
I don't know. I could do it. I'm in. Just to experience like the feeling of being super full and how we deal with it, and I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It may not be the best thing for us to do, but maybe also it's something. Maybe we don't record it. Maybe we just do it. Yeah.
That'll just be something. When I come out, we'll do that, and no one will know about it.
And we'll just record the aftermath and be like, guys, this was a mistake.
It starts with us loosening our belts.
Yeah. That was. Yeah.
Here's how we deal with after a binge.
Yeah,
And
right,
we're
right.
method acting. We're going the Daniel Day-Lewis route about it.
Yeah, right, right. Well, gang, I think this was a pretty solid conversation. We do have to keep it a little bit more brief this week than we did previous weeks, but I do want to open it
Oh,
up
do
where
we?
right now for those listening to you on YouTube, I want to open up to questions on the Instagram Live. We are live together on Instagram, so anybody watching live, if you guys have any questions, I know we saw a whole bunch right when we hopped in, so worst comes to worst, I think I'm going to start scrolling to find them.
I've
But
got
this
it
has
in the
been
box here. What's the
Oh, you got the
best
box.
the best way and the fastest way to lose 40 pounds? I would love to lose 40 pounds within a month. I've got one thing to say just to kick this off. First off, in a month, you cannot lose 40 pounds in a month. The way to lose 40 pounds in a month is to chop an arm off.
Yeah.
You can't do, I don't know if this person's still here, but if I could tell you right now, if I could snap 35 pounds off of you right now, I couldn't promise you that last 5. Would you take it? Or would you say no because it's not the 40? Most people say, well, that sounds pretty good. Okay, what about 30? What about 25? And they're like, okay, where are we going with this? Just lose it 1 pound at a time. You don't want the 40-pound weight loss. You want what it represents to you, which is either confidence or happiness, or you want to look in the mirror and you lose all the weight, you're still going to be miserable. I could snap that weight off of you and you're still going to hate what you see. So the fastest way to do this is slowly. And I know that's the worst answer that I ever give, but when you try to rush it, you end up gaining that 40 back, and there's nothing worse than losing the weight and then gaining it back again.
Well, Mike, what happened when you tried to rush it? Did it work?
Initially, yeah, the scale weight would drop, but what ended up happening was I wasn't developing habits that were going to keep me where I was. I was hurting my metabolism. My brain wasn't catching up to my body, and the scale weight started going back up very quickly. And I wasn't just losing fat either. I was losing muscle mass along the way. I posted a picture yesterday of what I looked like after my weight loss journey. I had no muscle on me at all because I starved it off of myself.
Yep.
So what ends up happening there is you lose muscle mass. And that's part of your weight loss. And then when you gain it back, you don't gain that muscle mass back. You gain fat back. So you can start and end at different body fat percentages and be at a higher body fat percentage at the same weight at the end. And it's a nasty cycle.
Faster you lose the weight, the more likely you are to gain it back.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a 100% correlation with that. I've seen it in myself. Mike has seen it within himself. The faster you try to lose it, the more likely you are to gain it back. Do not put a time frame on it. Lose the 40 pounds, end of sentence. Not 40 pounds in a month. That's more than a pound a day, when realistically you should be shooting for a pound a week.
Let's talk about why this person believes that that's even possible or that it's necessary. Because every plan that's ever sold to us is sold on, lose 14 pounds in 14 days or, lose the belly fat in a month.
Six-pack in 6 weeks.
Yeah. Our time frame as to how fast this is supposed to happen is incredibly skewed. It's not healthy.
What else do we got? Let's do a couple more.
Here, I think you'd be best for this one. I am in a calorie deficit. I'm eating much less and eating protein, but still gaining weight.
Okay.
So they're in a calorie deficit, but they're gaining weight.
They're eating more protein, they're in a calorie deficit, and they're gaining weight. So the first question I ask is, number one, how do you know you're gaining weight? Is it showing up on the scale? Is it showing up in your body? Where is it showing up? Number two, what sort of time frame has it been that you've been gaining weight, and how long have you been in a deficit? Because I have had weeks where the scale went up and I looked like way better than I did the following week. I've had the scale jump 2 pounds and I looked leaner than I ever had in my life. So are you measuring it off of 1 week of the scale? Are you measuring it off of 2 months? Because that's another thing. When people talk about plateaus, the plateau isn't a plateau if the scale doesn't move for 2 weeks. That's called being fucking impatient. Relax. It's a longer journey than you ever want it to be, but it always is. So first question, how long has it been? Second question, what metrics are you using to say, am I gaining weight? Is it just the scale? Does your body look any different? So why is there balloons behind me? Anyway, there's balloons on the live.
Oh, on the live. Okay, I don't see it here.
Yeah. Anyway, with those things being said, let's just assume that you've been on a weight loss journey for an extended period of time. Let's say it's been a couple months and you're still gaining weight. I hate to break it to you. You're not in a calorie deficit. Now, most times there's a couple smaller things within your diet that you haven't been addressing. Like maybe there's some oils. There are stuff like oils. There's stuff like liquid calories from sodas, and other drinks. There's alcohol calories. There's calories from sauces. There's a lot of stuff that tends to get overlooked when you're tracking your calories in a deficit that can actually completely ruin your deficit. So are you tracking as specifically as you can be? And if you think you are, if you're being completely honest with yourself and you think you are, your maintenance calories may be a little lower than you initially thought.
How can we look up our total daily energy expenditure? How can we look up what our maintenance is supposed to be?
Go to tdeecalculator.com and be completely brutally honest with your answers. Give your real weight, give your real height. If you're actually 5'11", say 5'11", don't say 6 foot. And be brutally honest with how your activity level truly is. That's where the biggest variance is. People will say where they're moderately active or very active, when in reality, they should probably be putting sedentary. So be brutally honest with how active you are as a person, and that will give you a rough estimation. But that is just a starter point. That is not the end all be all. If the calorie calculator says that my maintenance is 3,000, I need to test that. If I eat at 3,000, if I eat less than 3,000 calories and I don't lose weight, it means I need to make some adjustments and eat a little bit less, because that means that estimation was a little bit off. Next question I saw real quick from Shelby. She's been very active today. Do y'all use pre-workout?
I do not. I have a heart condition. So that should straight kill me. I'm not going to survive.
I did not know
pre-workout. You also don't need it.
No.
My pre-workout is I get a little snack before I start working out, and that's what you really need is some quick digesting carbs. Bodybuilders will use gummies, like sour gummies. Like that's always really good.
What kind of gummies are we talking about here?
Oh, no, not. I mean, you're not going to get great
Applebee's gummies.
Applebee's gummies. Applebee's gummies. No, I'd be asleep on the bench press for that one.
Right.
From a food coma.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't. But yeah, you go.
I do use pre-workout sometimes. It's not something I go through seasons with it, kind of like what you said with like the different types of drinks you'd be using. Oh, it's good, Cam. I see you in here. I go through seasons with it. I don't ever go out and like buy myself pre-workout. I think it's kind of a waste of money. So I wouldn't say it's a waste of money. It's just so low on my priorities list right now that if I need a little kick in the ass, I'll have a cup of coffee an hour beforehand, or I'll grab an energy drink if I really need it. But most of the time, I really try not to be overly reliant on it, because I've gone through periods where I kind of was, and I just, if I can get a quality workout and it's not affecting me, I'm good. All right, Mike, I don't know if you're seeing this person in the live. They have sent 16 messages about explosive diarrhea.
I've got the question box open.
Dude, they keep spamming it. Okay, let's do one more. I got time for one more. Let's do one more.
I do have one here that would be a really good way to end it. Hold on, let me just. I hate having to block somebody, but it is what it is. I love trolls, by the way. If it's a good troll with a good joke, I will play along all day. But when it's just somebody that's spamming the chat, that's not it. So This is a really good way to end it, and I think it wraps up our topic today really well. What are you guys aiming for the Super Bowl game or any other such event?
Oh, that's a banger question. That's a banger question, because I am a 49ers fan. The 49ers are in the Super Bowl. My team is in the Super Bowl for like the third time ever in my life, and they've lost every fucking time. So I'm hoping that we actually win the Super Bowl this time. But no, with that being said, that's a phenomenal question. I actually talked to some of my clients about this. It's similar to what we mentioned earlier. Prepare. It's all about the preparation beforehand. I know that if I'm probably just going to be watching with my dad, because my dad's the reason I'm a 49ers fan. He liked Joe Montana growing up, so we just have liked the 49ers forever. We're not bandwagons. My first jersey was a 49ers jersey when I was 3 years old. So I'm valid, I promise, even though I live in Michigan. With that being said, though, if I were to be going to a big social event, if I were to go to a party like I would in the past, I would be preparing beforehand. I would wake up on Super Bowl Sunday. I would have a light breakfast that's high in protein. I would have a light lunch that's high in protein, maybe a little higher in protein, so I keep myself full. And I'd give myself a budget to play with. Luckily for me, I'm such a large person that my maintenance calories are pretty freaking high. So I can afford a pretty hefty budget. The biggest tip I could give, though, outside of making a budget, because we've already talked extensively about that today, if you're going to eat at the party, which do it, of course. Super Bowl Sunday is notorious for snack foods. Pretzels, chips, pizza rolls, wings, carrot sticks, celery, stuff like that. That is fine. That food is completely valid. I ate that stuff several times on my weight loss journey, and I still do to this day. However, big caveat to that is that I want you to change this time. put it all on a plate and treat it like a meal. What I don't want to see you do is I don't want to see you be just doing this.
Yes. I too am a floater. It's the same thing. Like I will, just like when you don't want to be floating in front of the refrigerator, eating shredded cheese out of a bag. You will find something to snack on if you sit there.
Don't graze.
Don't
Applebee's
graze.
will make you graze, so be careful.
That too.
I'm a grazer. I graze like a fucking cow when I'm at Applebee's, bro.
Make sure that you're picking snacks that you truly enjoy. That
Yes.
the things that you're picking up are things that you really want, because there's sometimes where it's just like, well, it's in front of me, so I'm going to have it. It's a special occasion, so I'm going to have it. What makes the occasion special? Everything on that table is crap. You can buy it at the store now. You don't have to wait for the Super Bowl. You want to make wings, you go make wings. If you want chips, you can have chips. Also, if you're of the mindset where you say, well, I'm just going to enjoy myself, fuck it, you wouldn't know either of us right now. Because if you enjoyed binging that way, me and Noah would not be employed. So this is not an enjoyable experience. If you're going into it to enjoy yourself, you're lying to yourself. You're not going to enjoy it.
You're not going to enjoy the aftermath.
No, you're not going to enjoy the aftermath. You will. Binging is enjoyable for exactly the moments that you're doing it. And even then, for me, like it got to a point where it was related to pain in my head. And while I'm eating, I'm like, shit, I know I'm going to feel terrible after this. So I couldn't even enjoy the process. You're not going to, you don't enjoy binging. You think you enjoy binging. What you're enjoying is not feeling whatever you're using binging to get away from. But
Absolutely.
The aftermath is never worth it. So going about, I'm just going to enjoy it, fuck it, it's not enjoyable.
Give yourself a budget. Be kind to yourself. Put it on a plate and make it a meal. Sit it down, put it in a plate, eat it as such. Understand you can have those foods whenever you really want to. I think you just read that Alexander.
Yeah,
dude, he's been dropping some real wild stuff in the chat for like 25 minutes. I've been trying to ignore it.
I haven't looked at the chat.
Dude, no. That's not even close to the worst shit he said. You guys are out of pocket today.
I'm over here trying to keep it straight, and I can't.
One final thing I'll say on the Super Bowl Sunday stuff. Liquid calories are also a big one. So making sure you have something around that is lower in calories. Bring a water bottle, do something like that, because that's where the fuck it, whatever mentality typically comes out. So having a drink or two safely, responsibly, like we said, if you have a budget, that's completely fine. But that's where more of the counterintuitive decisions can come from when you're 2-3 fucking beers in.
Get a meal before you show up too.
Yeah, it's like I said, have a heavy protein meal before you go. So then, like what Mike said, when you are eating at the Super Bowl party, you are eating the stuff that you actually want to eat. When you're going to have fun food, make it fun food you actually want to eat. Make that shit count. That's great. It's one of my favorite videos that Mike's ever fucking made was he was in the supermarket about the cookies. I love that one. But
a lot of people liked that one a whole lot. It's just real quick because I run the risk of running us over. I was going to get some apple cider donuts when I was at the store, but I'm like, you know what? I could wait until tomorrow and I could go to the farm because out here in New Jersey, you can get farm baked. Like they have bakeries at farms. That's apparently not a thing everywhere before anyone calls me out on it. And they're very good. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to the farm tomorrow. I'll make a day of it. And I went and I got a donut probably twice as big as what I was going to get there and 10 times as good. And I wasn't going to eat 6 garbage grocery store donuts because I would have eaten all of them. And I wouldn't have enjoyed all of them half-assed.
Have you ever had a Paxi?
No. What's that?
It's like a Midwestern Polish donut. And every time around this time of year after New Year's, it's like February, March, April. They come out in droves at all the grocery stores here in Michigan, but because we have a lot of Poles around Chicago and stuff.
Yeah.
And they are next. They're like they're glorified, like super jelly donuts on crack. Oh, dude, they're insane. They're absolutely lethal. So if anybody
keep that
knows
on the
Paxi's,
spreadsheet. Let's put that on the micro habit spreadsheet.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. So it's been a phenomenal conversation. We actually got 45 minutes in. I do have a call here in a couple minutes, so we do got to end it here. Mike and I have been cooking up something real special. That's all I'm going to say.
It a little bit, just little hints.
We'll give you a 30-second little run if you want. We got something cooking.
Something real good.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it
Yeah.
I haven't given details, but I've talked about the fact that we're going to be doing some group coaching, but it's not just going to be group coaching. It's not going to be you show up and there's like a lesson and that's it. This is a comprehensive resource with a toolbox with all sorts of resources. We just put together part of the lesson plan today and it's looking fucking fire. It's looking really good.
The idea, when it's ready, I don't know when it is going to be ready. Just like a weight loss journey, I want to make sure when we release this to you guys, it is absolutely next level. So keep an eye out for any announcements from Mike and I. Right now, as we record this, it is February 7th. We will likely not release it for at least another month or two. We got to make sure that this is right. We got to make sure that this is something that is worth your guys' time. But when it is finished, this is going to be the best community with the best mindset for sustainable, permanent weight loss. So it's going to be meant for people who have struggled with dieting in the past and want a one-way ticket to doing it themselves the right way and having an army of badasses behind them. And I think that's all we should say, because
We don't want you to need us. We want you to want us.
And we want you to be able to walk away from it, being able to help others do the same thing.
That's the whole message of, I guess I'll drop my tagline here and you drop yours. Be kind to yourself. It's all part of being kind to yourself. It's helping others.
Be kind to yourself. Keep it simple. That's Mike. This is Noah. Go check out the other episodes on YouTube. It's been an absolute pleasure. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Let's have a good one. Let's make it a great week.